Well, hey there, ladies and gentlemen of the auto enthusiast ilk. No matter where you are on planet Earth, your thumb or maybe your index finger managed to push the button again, and you've tuned into yet another...
Kevin, yet another discursive episode of V8 Radio.
Discursive.
Right on.
Huh.
Meaning digressing from subject to subject.
That's about right.
Never has a truer overselling adjective been uttered on this show.
Well, it sounds like when I was in grade school and, my teacher was asking me to print, and I said, well, that's print and discursive.
Exactly. Same.
That's bad. This is the V8 Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Ostie, joined, as always, by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Cuball Clark.
Hey there, Mr. Kevin Van Ostie. It is good to be back here.
Kevin Van Ostie.
Right on.
It's got a ring to it.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You need to get your, when you get your plates, you need to get some personal plates for the van that says Van Ostie.
That's actually not a terrible idea because I've been, trying to come up with ideas for the license plates. But we'll talk about that after the tradition that always kicks off every single episode of V8 Radio, and that is the automotive trivia question. Have you prepared one?
I have prepared one. Lord knows we've had enough time to prepare one. All right, Kevin. Short, sweet, to the point. Kevin, what is a Monroney label?
A Monroney label.
Correct. What is a Monroney label?
What the hell is a Monroney label?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
Well, you're supposed to tell me, and then I'll know, and then I'll be able to answer.
Right.
Monroney label. You know what? I don't have a clue.
And it does have a place in the automotive landscape.
All right.
It is a legit question.
This is now calibrating my question to you, by the way, because I had a couple of them.
Oh, great. Now I get the jackass one.
Okay. A Monroney label. Monroney. Who was Monroney? I know Monroe was shock absorbers. Marconi was in radio, but Monroney...
Maybe they had a kid.
Stuck a feather in his cap and called it Monroney.
Perhaps.
Which, by the way, the song Yankee Doodle does not refer to the pasta noodle macaroni. Did you know that?
I may have known that at one time, but I forget what exactly it refers to.
Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his cap, and called it macaroni. That refers to a kind of a bougie style of apparel that people wore in England at the time.
Ah.
And here's our man Yankee Doodle, who they were trying to sum up to be kind of a yahoo who sticks a feather in his cap and all of a sudden he's cool, Oh,
I got it. All right, but, fair enough. Fair enough.
That is not a Monroney label.
That is not a Monroney label. So.
All right, I'm going to say, just because I got no idea, it is it's a label you affix. Man, there's like no significant stickers in automobilia except for like stripes and license plates, and I got it because I don't know. I'm going to say a Monroney label is the original certification label that was placed upon race engines that were built to spec to illustrate that they've not been modified by breaking the seal.
Okay, let hang on a second. I gotta write
Yeah,
this
type
down.
that up. Yeah.
Ooh, they're on to me.
Yeah, good luck over there with that one.
The original certification that's placed on a race engine?
Yes. I don't remember what I said.
Yes, you do.
A race
yes,
engine
you do.
Built to spec. What am I talking to Siri over here? I got a built to spec period to illustrate that it has not been modified by breaking the seal.
That it's not been modified.
Yeah, you need to call Mavis Beacon over there, I think.
I need to get a secretary to start doing this for me.
Mavis, you remember the software? Mavis Beacon teaches typing.
No.
It's like one of the early home computer typing programs.
Nice.
Look at all the trivia, man. Just like right out of the
You're giving it away.
Jeez. Captain Useless over here.
Oh, brother, that's awesome.
All right, do you have all
that'll
that?
be a good license plate for your
Captain
van.
Useless.
Captain Useless.
I dig that. Maybe. If I can truncate that to 7 letters, we're down.
Yeah, right? CPTUSLS or something like that.
Yeah, capitulous. Another capitulous episode of this old dumb
Next
van.
time on V8 Radio.
That's right, friends. You heard it here first. Okay. We good with that? Final answer and all that?
Final answer. It's duly noted.
Okay. So I have 3 questions, actually.
Oh, man. Spinning the wheel.
Yes. And I actually have a wheel now, too, by the way. There's an actual website called the Wheel of Names that you can spin. It's fun.
Nice.
So rather than spin the wheel, I'm going to give you the chance to choose your own adventure. Do you want one that is, well, none of them are really technical. Let's just do it the old-fashioned way. 1, 2, or 3?
1.
1. All right. Congratulations. You've chosen door number 1. This might be a rerun, and if this sounds familiar, we'll go to door number 2.
You won't hear me say it's a rerun.
No, I know you won't. Chances are you wouldn't remember anyway, which is
Probably not.
Okay, back in the late 60s and early 1970s, our friends at the Mercury Motor Division had a pretty interesting advertising tactic, element, if you will, that they would use in their print and television ads in the form of a live cougar. Do you remember the cat?
Yes, vaguely. I remember the cat.
Mercury was known as the sign of the cat.
Yes.
And they had the cougar in the commercials.
What was the cat's name?
Yes.
Got
That is incorrect. I mean, tune in to find out. Mike's final answer of
brother.
GD the cat.
Oh, man. So what was the cat's name? What was the cougar's name? Oh, brother. That's a peach right there. I'm gonna, just so I'm not hemming and hawing for 100 years, I'm just gonna say Felix. Felix the cat.
All right. Good name for a cat.
Yep, not too bad.
Good name for a cat in the mass media.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right.
We'll find out.
We will find out if it's truly Felix the cat. Okay. Well, right on.
So before we get too deep into this, I wanted to give a couple of shout outs if I could.
Yeah, can you? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to. Here we go. So we've had an interview played on the show before with this first gentleman, Mr. Chris Shaftsma. And a shout out to him as he just came off a national championship that he won in SCCA class H production in his Mark II GTI.
That is awesome.
Yeah, they had the runoffs at the Virginia International Raceway last month, and he took the win. That
is fantastic. That's a big job.
It's a huge job. He's been chasing that for a long time.
I bet. Well, and he's got a little bit to thank to his outstanding crew member who was there twice.
Yeah, I didn't pit for him this time, unfortunately, but a couple times I did crew for him. So So he has an annual Oktoberfest party that I was able to make it to. So I got to see him and congratulate him, and saw a few of my other Volkswagen Club friends that I hadn't seen in a while.
Nice.
Mr. Trevor Kindlin and Mr. Jason Caffey, Kenny and Sarah Murray, and Timmy Garner. So it was good to see those guys, and they asked about the show, so I thought it'd be nice to give them a little shout-out.
For sure. And it sounds like a good Oktoberfest. You got German cars. Was it like a celebration of Wolfsburg?
Oh, it was a celebration of just getting lit. That's what that was.
Celebration of the impending harvest. How nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right on. Well, our friends over at the Stubborn German podcast would probably appreciate that. So next time we'll invite them.
Right on.
Cool. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
so
man.
before we went down the trivia rabbit hole, we were discussing potential license plate options for the van. And if you've missed the van episode last time, I was able to acquire a nearly carbon copy of the 1979 Dodge Maxi van custom conversion that I had when my family had when I was a kid. So now I have the darn near same thing, and that's a thing now.
It is a thing now, and if you don't listen to that story on the V8 Radio podcast, the latest Stubborn German podcast was talking all about it this morning.
Oh, that's true. This morning? Wow.
Yeah.
I was seeing it.
Yeah.
Yes, they did add. You know what's funny? Okay, so here's what's funny about this whole thing. There has been an unexpected amount of enthusiasm surrounding the van.
Because it's a badass van.
Well, I mean, I think so, but sometimes, when you think something's cool on your own, in my world, oftentimes it's just me, because I have,
right.
We'll call it esoteric taste. But
all right.
But now I think we talked about on the last one how I got some friends that are like planning trips and texting in. So since then, our marketing assistant Lisa, who helps me out tremendously, she's like, "Why don't we just take this to SEMA? Why don't we just drive that thing?" And from there it turned into, hey, we should take that to the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals in November.
Yep. And
road trip it and just do that. And we were talking about license plates. And I learned that this being a custom conversion van with a bed it's a couch that pulls into a bed. It could fall into the recreational vehicle classification in the People's Republic of Illinois where we live.
Right.
And what that means is that you can have spirits aboard as you traverse the great flat state of Illinois. As long as the owner or the driver is not imbibing.
Right.
Everyone else can enjoy the trip a little bit better. So
that sounds like a plan.
Yes, thinking about maybe registering that as an RV because it makes sense. We will all be recreating anytime we are in the van.
Absolutely. Yeah. There will be no lack of recreating in that van.
Yes. So the past couple weeks, I've been running around at 100 miles an hour with my hair on fire, but the van has gone through a few steps at the shop. So the crew changed the shock absorbers. They replaced the rear brake hose and bled the brakes and put some wheel cylinders on it. Fixed the idling issue. Changed the carburetor. Found some vacuum leaks. Circumvented some unnecessarities under the hood. And it drives nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, it starts nice and it idles and it's not either doing what it was doing. It performs better. There's still a bunch of things left to do. So the other day I finally got a chance to take it for a spin after they had done some of their tune-up stuff on it and took it for a ride. And I'm like, all right, this is good. This is a great step in the right direction.
Cool, man.
And then last Thursday, our buddy Grady came down to the shop and we were going to take it for a ride and it no longer runs.
What?
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. They pumped out the gasoline because it was like a beautiful shade of dark brown varnish.
Sure.
That's all fine. I think it's one of two things. I have not done any diagnostics yet. It's either the original diaphragm fuel pump has failed, or the infamous Chrysler electronic ignition mystery box has decided to release its mystery.
Nice.
And no longer works. And you know what sucks about that is, if in fact that's the case, the electronic ignition module, I can get a replacement at the local O'Reilly's store for like, I don't know, $35 or something. They're not expensive and they're not hard to find.
Cool.
But they are different. You know, it's a modern offshore thing, and I have to tear myself away from saying, dude, it's a 79 Dodge van. It just needs to run.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But I hate the thought of, polluting it with substandard.
With Chinesium.
Yeah.
That
this
kind
thing,
of stuff.
It's never.
I mean, I get it, but what are your other options?
Well, I'm sure there's another option. I don't even know if it needs that yet, so I got to find out. But today you can't really get away from that unless you go, full high performance.
Right.
And even those a lot of times are overseas made, as we all know. But just some of those bottom of the barrel replacement parts that you just know that there's a pallet full of these electronic ignition modules for late 70s and early 80s Chrysler cars that these parts stores are just dying to get rid of.
Oh, for sure.
To get them off the inventory, and they've been on the shelves forever. So it's like, is this going to be a good thing or not?
Since 1979, they've been on the shelves.
I wouldn't say that, because I know these things were replaced quite often.
Sure.
And that's why they still have them.
Yeah.
The promise of the infinite reliability didn't quite come to fruition. But it might be fine. That thing might be working just fine. But it sure kind of seemed like either a complete lack of fuel or a complete lack of spark.
I mean, that's easy enough to diagnose. So
yes, I just gotta yank the doghouse off in the engine cover, and what is a little deceiving is this does have the famous Mopar gear reduction starter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, when it cranks, I could, what that sounds like. All
yes,
those
I do know what that sounds like.
6-cylinder and 8-cylinder small block Chryslers had that. And it makes it real easy for the starter motor to turn the engine over. So it's kind of hard to get a feel of like what's happening in there. Because normally if an engine's got fuel and spark and it's not firing off and it's at least combusting a little bit, there's some resistance there, and they normally turn over at a certain speed, and like when it loses ignition, it turns over faster just because it's easier to do. That gear reduction starter is like invincible, and it always spins fast.
I gotcha. Right.
So it's hard to tell, like, is something going on here? Even when like the battery voltage is real low. I mean, that is an awesome thing, that gear reduction starter. I got to give it to them for that.
Yeah, that is a good invention. I think my Duster must have had one, because it sure made a unique sound.
Yeah, it's a high pitch, and then it hits. Yeah, for sure. So when I was a kid, we had a dog. We had a giant schnauzer, a German dog, but not a German Shepherd. Giant schnauzer, and his name was Max. And my dad used to jokingly say that his nickname or his middle name was Von, and he was Max von Oost.
Nice.
So maybe that ties into your Van Oost.
Maybe.
the Van Oosty plate.
Captain Useless is really gaining traction with me, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good, too. I mean, there's all kinds of great license plates, but one that fits that you look at the van and then, it works if you know or don't. That's the ones that are tricky to find.
True.
So,
but man, that van is cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It's little by little, it's getting there. I did find a set of the turbine wheels. I think I said that before. I haven't picked them up yet, but so kind of negotiating with the guy a little bit there, and we'll see.
Don't let them go.
Trying not to. Trying not to. But this is an interesting time because as we're recording this, like 1 week from right now is the SEMA Monday Night Reveal.
Man, that's right. It is.
That's crazy how fast it came
really
up.
Sneaking up on me.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. So I've been in, it seems like the month of like mid-September to mid-November are just really, really busy, which is great. But all kinds of weirdness happens because where I live, like where you live, it's the end of the summer, so the weather starts to change, and I'm trying to milk every nice night in the garage as much as I can.
Right.
I was able to drive the Galaxy convertible to work today, which was cool.
Oh, right on. Good.
It was like 75 degrees out today, and that was nice. But doing one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and all of a sudden you turn around and it's like, hey, Charlie, you got to get in a plane and go to the SEMA show in a minute. It's like, whoa.
Oh, brother. Yikes. Oh, man.
But it's very exciting. The show pre-registration is up a lot. The displays are up. The number of new products entered is up. So I think it's going to be a bang-up event. I'm very excited about it.
So, Kevin, why, as a regular Joe, can I not go to the SEMA show?
If only there was like a video you could watch.
Somebody ought to put one out.
So you saw that, huh?
Oh, I saw it 100 times. I saw it.
That was you, the 100-time count there that went up?
I am the 100 viewer, yep.
Well, so yeah, just over the weekend, as a matter of fact, I released a little V8 TV video that answers that very question, why a regular person can't get into the show unless you buy the SEMA Friday experience, in which
Friday experience, right?
The consumer can get in. And where this all comes from is it's a trade show, it's an industry show, and there's a lot of people that are car enthusiasts that would seemingly, almost kill to get in, which I get. It's promoted as being this fantasy land for car enthusiasts and everything else. But the problem is it's truly a trade event. It's there so that manufacturers and warehouse distributors and buyers and retailers can all come together and make deals, and there's seminars for education, and the SEMA Political Action Committee meets, and there's things in the laws that we're trying to work with and all the rest of it. So even just that, I think there's going to be over 150,000 people there this year.
Good heavens.
So it's hard enough, over the course of 4 days to get the business done.
Right.
With that many people. And then you have the individuals who are like, I've been playing with cars my whole life, I deserve to go. Well, in a way you do, for sure. But those are the people that go up to the counter of a display and say, hey, do you have a throttle return spring for my 66 Ford? And want to tell the representative their life story. Well, this car, I got it from my Uncle Dave, and he bought it. And you don't want to be impolite to people, but there's just not enough time.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, just industry professionals alone, and there's still likely not enough time to see everything and do everything you want to do as an industry professional.
No, there's not. But the good thing is, it's not like the manufacturers that are making these parts and releasing all this cool stuff. It's not like they take it all home and put it in the closet and hoard it for the rest of the year until next year's show. I mean, this stuff gets on the road, and there's all kinds of other automotive events that have vendors that are bringing out that stuff that you can talk to that person at that event, which is probably the consumer level guy or gal that is going to answer your questions better. So it seems like this elitist club that you can't get into if you're not officially in the industry. But what it really is setting up the whole stage for all the cool new stuff that you're going to see in videos. You're going to see social posts, magazines, events.
Exactly.
Your Summit Racing catalog is going to have them. And it'll get there.
Yeah, there's a ton of media there, and you're going to see videos being put out during the week of SEMA by other YouTube social media platforms, and you're going to see what's going on at SEMA. It's not like it's shrouded in mystery. People know what it's all about. People know what happens there due to a lot of the media coverage that it gets. So that is pretty cool that people can at least see what's going on, if not be there in person.
Yeah, and the media is changing, like every day. So it used to be, in fact, I was having this conversation with Dave Leonard, who is the owner of OPGI. You're familiar with OPGI? Your GTO
Absolutely.
is dripping in OPGI parts.
Right.
And he was like, SEMA for me has changed with our company because he said, I'm not sure I'm going this year. And I'm like, are you kidding me? OPGI's been there since like the 80s. You're a fixture. I know I can see in my mind exactly where your display is. And he said, well, yeah. I said, why would you consider not going? And he said, really, the best SEMA experiences he had as a retailer and a manufacturer were the ones, he said, quite frankly, where I worked with you, like when you were working with Hot Rod or when you were producing V8 TV videos from the show floor, and you'd come by and we'd do a video and I'd show you my new stuff, and then that would go out on television or online, and then somebody else would come by from a magazine, from Hot Rod, and he listed off like the 6 media properties that he preferred or had the most experience working with, and Chevy High Performance and Super Chevy Magazine and Popular Hot Rodding and CarCraft. Well, those really don't exist anymore. Yeah. So he's like, so I don't know what to do. I don't want to just stand there and not get my stuff out. And I said, well, it's funny because the crux is that media has far more reach today than it ever has, but it's so segmented and it's so not like official. Go to the store and fill out the card and send in a check and then get it every month.
Yeah.
You cruise through and you find stuff. So I was kind of thinking about that. And it's the first time that I really approached this mentally from the standpoint of an exhibitor. And I thought, so if this is me, what I would probably do, and OPGI does restoration parts primarily for GM A bodies. So Cutlass Chevelle, GTO, Skylark, GS, and they also do some Cadillac parts, and they've branched off into a few other lines. But I think what I would do is jump on YouTube and do a little research and find the biggest channel where there's people building Chevelles and reach out to that guy, right?
Sure.
Find the biggest Instagram account that is GTO focused. Reach out to that person. Invite them all to come to the booth and have a conversation, take some pictures, give them a T-shirt, buy them a drink, make a nice relationship out of it. And then they will do what the previous traditional media had done. Mm-hmm. And then it's a win.
That's a good idea.
I have every once in a while.
You are full of good ideas.
Yeah, Captain Useless. But last I saw, he's back on the list and will be displaying there. So maybe they did that. I don't know.
Good. Backing up a little bit, I remember those V8 TV videos from the SEMA show floor.
Yeah. That
you used to put out, and I really did look forward to those, and I enjoyed seeing the content because you weren't focusing on the quote-unquote car show aspect of SEMA, but you were showing off the product line that these people have and showing what they can get, what you can get to get your project done. So those are really good informative videos.
Well, I appreciate that. And what I always tried to find out was, again, when we first started doing those, there wasn't very many people doing those. we've been doing online video for a long time. So
Right.
I remember talking to companies, and I think Dave might have been one of them at OPGI, saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to shoot this video, and then we're going to edit it, and it's going to be online tonight. And he's like, it's going to be online? Like,
really?
Who's going to see that?
Yeah.
Back in '04.
Right.
And
true. I mean,
and this was before YouTube. We were doing this.
yeah, back then. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had a point.
Right.
But you were the visionary.
Or, the lucky one, whatever. But
Right.
So trying to push that idea out, and then of course it all exploded, and now everybody has the opportunity with a phone and
Sure.
to distribute right to YouTube or any TikTok or social. So that part's great. But even as people started to catch on, because I was still doing television and competing with, so to speak, with other TV shows for camera time on different interviews, I wanted to always do them a little bit differently, coming at them as an enthusiast and not somebody with a microphone and a camera.
I gotcha.
Right. So
Yeah.
a lot of times we were able to get more of the backstory of the product. Where did the demand come from? How did you choose this application? What do they have to know to put this in? And what can they expect? And guys like Rick Love at Vintage Air give you great stories. He'll
Yeah.
reveal all that info. And we were talking today about Rick Johnson at Gear Vendors. He's a great one. Rick Johnson is just full of technical knowledge and stories, and always has a great story to tell because his Gear Vendor overdrive units basically allow drag week to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that without Gear Vendors, you don't have much of it, or you certainly don't have the ETs that you get with drag week. Maybe your best one's a 9-second.
Yeah,
without Gear Vendors.
because it takes that overdrive to bring those engine speeds down for the drive between tracks, which means it makes a 5-second car able to compete and make the drive. So those are the kind of stories that I always like to get, instead of, yes, well, we make this for the 86 to 94 Jeep YJ, and you can get yours at AutoZone. It's like, I mean, that's good to know, but that's what everybody else is going to share. Right. So thanks, man. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, man. All day.
I really wish I had more time to get out and do those. I'm very fortunate, and I'm super appreciative that I have the opportunities that I do to work the SEMA Central stage all week and do the other things that I do there. But I do miss getting out and walking the floor and doing those interviews. I learned this year, I think I have 3 hours on Wednesday afternoon.
Ooh.
So
to just run wild?
That's it, man. Just go have at it.
Nice.
And last year I had that same little break, and it's because the SEMA Central stage gets taken over by the Launchpad competition contestants. Right. So they set up a thing there, and they shoot video, and they do their Launchpad judging and whatnot there, which is awesome. Last year is when I was able to skip out and shoot that video on the hydrogen-powered Chevy pickup truck.
Yes. Yeah, and we were able to even, I was out there with you last year, and we were even able to squeeze a show in there.
That's right, same time.
Yeah.
Which by the way, I just re-released.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a little,
appreciate that.
A little taste bud wetter, if you will, of hopefully what's to come. So, yeah. Heck
Very
yeah, man.
Cool. Yeah, this is SEMA is just it's exciting. I've been bitten by it, and I want to go all the time now. Yeah,
and it's one of those things where it takes a lot to get there.
Yeah,
and it's I know it's especially for the people that are displaying, it's a big expense. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
but if you put the effort in, it's all going to pay off. And you mentioned the cars on display. That's the other thing, is a lot of people have this conception that SEMA is a car show. And I finally kind of put it into words in that video, if you remember my analogy, where if you were going to go to a pizza trade show, right? If you're in the pizza business and you make pizzas for a living, and I'm sure
Right.
they have a pizza trade show. What do you expect to see there? Well, you probably expect to see ovens and the next generation of eco-friendly reusable pizza boxes, which, by the way, was another idea that I had last week.
Nice.
Plastic reusable pizza box. And I'm trying to think of how that got returned. Oh, yeah. The guy would come to your door with the pizza, and the pizza box would be plastic and insulated, or some material that's not cardboard, reusable, washable. But then a little plate would slide out, and they just give you the pie on the plate, and then they take the box with them.
Nice.
Right?
All right.
So as I set up my pizza trade show display for the reuse-a-pie, or whatever we're going to call this,
The hot box.
the new cleanable, reusable hot box.
Hot box. The aroma is breathtaking.
There you go, man. While we're displaying that, you'd also expect to see things like that. You'd expect to see like the crust makers and cheese and all that stuff. But you would also expect there to be pizzas at the pizza show. Because
True.
people are going to be showing off their latest recipes and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the pizzas are the cars at the SEMA show.
Yes.
These are how the things are showcased. They are the sizzle. They're definitely a thing that draws people to the event and makes it cool. But the pizza trade show is about how to make a pizza and not about how to eat one. And same with the SEMA show.
Right. I mean, you had the reloaded Camaro at the SEMA show showcasing rocket racing wheels.
Yeah, it was there twice.
Yeah.
It was there first in the MagnaFlow exhaust display.
Yes, that's right. MagnaFlow as well.
Which was very funny because you can't see any of the exhaust on that car. But Richard Wadis at MagnaFlow said, "Yeah, but you can hear it." And I said, "That's true." Right, that car is a great example of a little like a playlist, like a build sheet of great stuff.
Yeah.
It's all like recent, new parts that you can buy and then build this car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, show your product on an actual vehicle, and that'll give you an idea. Like, oh, I want that for mine now, or I
Right.
think we can sell this to other customers.
Yes, but what I think happens is, I'm not going to go into this anthropological viewpoint of our tribal society, but what I will say is that I think the areas of our enthusiast automotive aftermarket world get segmented quite a bit. So manufacturers tend to hang with manufacturers, builders tend to hang with builders, retailers tend to hang with retailers. So I think everybody has their own, they all put themselves to be the most important. So the builders all say, hey, if it wasn't for us, nobody would come to this thing because I built this awesome car and it's going to get all the coverage and it's going to win Battle of Builders. And the manufacturer are like, well, if there was nobody making parts, you'd have nothing to build.
Nothing to build. Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's an argument. I just think it would be nicer, I think, and more effective for the industry if the builder that built that car worked more closely with the manufacturers. Or the manufacturer was hanging out with the car, because sometimes the car's in the booth, like we just said. So, the Rocket Racing example was great because here's the reloaded Camaro, and then the guys from Rocket can go, look at this car right here, bam, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
But when a car is on display in other parts of the show, because there are cars all over the show,
Yep.
it's not immediately visible what products are on it. If you stumble into the Rocket Racing booth, you're probably going to expect a car with Rocket Racing wheels, unless somebody really didn't do their homework. But at the same time, the guys at Rocket Racing are like, yeah, here's this Camaro with Rocket wheels on it, but they might not know that it also has Vintage Air and Detroit Speed suspension and MagnaFlow exhaust and down the line. And you can make a card, a little hero card or a sign. But what I think would be better is if our team from V8 Speed and Resto as builders, if we were there, the whole time. And when somebody came by and says, "Man, that Camaro's awesome. I love the wheels and look at those gauges, boy." And and our guy would say, "Hey, well, what do you drive?" "Well, I got a Torino." "Well, you know what? They make them for those too, because I know." And
right.
Connect the dots. Or where can I get those? "Oh, well, these are available, wherever." Instead of just saying, a lot of times the builders are like, "Dude, look at my car. It's awesome."
Love me.
Well, and most of them are, quick to thank and point out the manufacturer tie-in, but unless it's a fully, hand-built custom, like something that, Rad Rides by Troy did that doesn't really have any parts you can buy unless you hire them to build the whole car. I think it would be pretty neat if there was more of that connection to the stuff inside, but that's probably a whole nother skill set.
Yeah, I get that. That would be cool. Yeah, man.
It would sell more parts.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Keep the industry moving.
The person might hire the builder right there. I thought you only built Camaros. No, I love Torinos. Let's do one. Whatever.
And who knows? That might happen. I would imagine that it has happened.
That is a whole interesting topic. From a car builder standpoint, the umbrella topic is: does it help your business to take cars to shows? And then does it help to take it to the SEMA show? Because here's the double-edged sword. Of our customers at V8 Speed and Resto, we've had 3, I think, that were corporations. And all the rest over, coming up on 19 years have been consumers.
Okay.
Guess who can't get into the SEMA show?
Consumers.
Yes. So our customer is not really walking around at that show.
Yeah, good point.
But the benefit is building those manufacturer relationships, to work as a partner with a company to build a car is awesome. Sure. And not like if a company owns the car, but again, one of the reasons why we know the people at Vintage Air so well and work with them so well is because we use their stuff as evidenced by the cars we build.
Right.
But the next thing I think at SEMA is, because of the media and because what it is, there's that level of street cred, If your shop has built 10 SEMA cars, maybe you know what you're doing.
Maybe. There's a chance.
It's a possibility. Yeah. And I think, we're right there, I think, right around, if I do the math. Maybe because one has been there twice. It's not quite 10. But then when the car gets out into the world, it's been seen in the media, like from the SEMA show. And if you have a good partnership, like what we do with Rocket Racing, they put that Reloaded Camaro in their catalog.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. So now that gets distributed everywhere. Now people are like, "Oh, I saw a picture of that at SEMA. Oh, here it is in the catalog." And then our contact info is there, in the little corner of the picture as the builder.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So the challenge becomes getting the car in front of the kind of people that want the kind of car that you want to build as a builder.
I get that.
And like the Good Guys events for us is a place where those people hang out, So if we can take our vehicles to that show, those shows, to me, that's a good opportunity to show a potential customer, what we do. And then again, backed by where else this car has been.
That's true. Now, I know you've had some cars at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals in the past. How has that rung out to drumming up some business for you?
That has also, but here's the other interesting thing is we have a fairly comprehensive customer relation management software. And one of the things that this does is it counts the number of days between the initial contact and the time a car shows up. If the person becomes a customer.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Right? because we're not a gas station or a restaurant that you need this minute.
Correct.
And that's our friends over at Yelp. I had a heated discussion with them because they're like, you need to be all over Yelp because people show up and then they type in, I need your service, and here you are. And I said, yeah, but nobody wakes up and says, today in the next 15 minutes I have to decide in a restoration shop. It doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
So what also tends to happen is I think the average time period between initial contact and that person becoming a customer and dropping the car off is like almost 2 years.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah.
Holy cats.
Yeah. It's a good amount of time. And it's not because some of it is because we're busy, thankfully, and we're working on a lot of stuff. We can't just take it in today, if you wanted to. So there's the back time of the wait. There's the back time of the plan, figuring out what you want and all that. But there's a lot of time where somebody might call and talk to you, and then they hang up and look at your website and watch some videos and go to shows and talk to other people and
kind of vet you out.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, as they should.
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, I chatted with one of our customers today. We're doing an LSA Camaro for this gentleman, and he's like, I think he researched us for 11 months before he called.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's always those conversations are interesting because it's like, are you getting what you expected? I mean, did that pay off? All that vetting. And in his case, he was like, well, yeah, absolutely. The quality's, I love the work. I love everything you guys are doing. I wish this was going faster, Right. And I had to tell him, me too. There is absolutely nothing in it for my business to take longer to finish your car.
True.
There is just not. In fact, it's detrimental. But when you're waiting on parts and you're waiting on resources to open up and this gentleman came to us for a reason, and he wanted the quality standard that we put in, and that doesn't happen quickly, unfortunately.
Quality takes time, man.
And we're pretty efficient at it, but again, it's a 50-year-old car, so you start peeling the layers away, and then a lot of times, and consider this if you're going to have a car built somewhere, or even a performance mod or whatever. If somebody says, "Yeah, I can put that hood scoop on and repaint your hood in 12 hours, done," that technician is envisioning a brand new hood. They're not envisioning stripping off 50 years of paint and finding something that looks like it's been hit with a bag of walnuts and rust, and then it needs seam sealer, and it's separating from the inner skin, and it's actually twisted, and the hinges are shot, and then it's like, oh, well, now this 10-hour project turned into 50 hours easily.
Yeah.
So that time frame is, so what that does is it makes it kind of challenging to qualify or to quantify if a show appearance was a good one. Because by the time the car shows up, you might not even know where they saw it.
Right.
So I actually found out at one point, some guy said, well, yeah, I saw that orange Camaro you guys had at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. Really? You never mentioned that? Yeah, that's the first time I saw it. Well, I had no idea. And that was 10 years ago, so... It's the tracking the marketing impressions it's a challenge.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, I think the first time I saw one of your builds at the McCacken show, I believe it was the Proudy 69 Firebird.
Yeah, you saw two. It was Rowdy and Reloaded next to each other.
Right. I also remember that. That was the 69 Chevelle, the
black one.
The black one with the shiny, the metallic paint.
Yep.
And that was on the back of a T-shirt.
Oh yeah. That was on a T-shirt. That was in Hemmings Muscle Machines magazine.
Yeah.
It got a lot of features. So that car is great. It's the paint is called Carbon Flash Metallic.
Right. That's it.
It's got like 10 different colors in it, but you look at it, it's black. And then it's got the stock style red SS stripe down the side. It's a big block car. That guy is a great customer. He watched us build the yellow 69 Chevelle in video on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The SS496?
Yep. And he was one who said directly, I just watched you build that car, and I have one. And he's local enough to where Kelly and I went over to his house and looked at his car. And he's like, what's she doing here? And I said, watch.
I'm going to stand back. She's going to go to town.
Exactly, yeah. So she went through and looked at everything inside and out, upside down, in and out, and laid it out for the guy. And he's like, awesome, and we've been great friends ever since. And that was a pretty long time ago.
Yeah, man.
And so that's how we did that car. And he takes that out every chance he can get. He's got a room full of trophies with that car.
Wow, I bet. Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful car. So
it's one that it just
is.
Yeah, the paint's killer, but it just all works. It's it's a 462 cubic inch big block Chevy, I guess. It's not like it's an aluminum, block motor or something super exotic. Right. It just is the right stuff. It's got the right stance, it's got the right parts, and it's got the right detail level.
Yeah. It's got the red gut too, doesn't it?
That one actually has black.
Black. Gosh darn it.
But it's got original pattern seats done in leather.
That's nice.
It is nice, yeah. That thing with the red interior would be insane. Maybe I'll give him a call.
Sir, it certainly would.
Hey, man, time to update that a little bit, huh?
Yeah, give him a call. If he's a listener, listen, buddy, it's time to do something.
Yeah, he wins all these Best Paint awards. We've got to get him some Best Interior awards next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got your own interior shop now?
Oh, yeah.
Quality is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one full of good ideas, sir.
I'm impressed. That one's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
So, it's a long way to answer that question. So I do think the Muscle Car Corvette Nationals is good for us, and I think all the shows are. It's just like SEMA or any show. If you're going to be there and you're going to display anything, you got to make the effort. You got to be personable.
Right.
You got to know about it. You got to be willing to show it off. You got to be willing to listen to what the person is interested in.
Yes. You have to be engaging.
How many times have you been to a car show and the builder's there and he's just spouting off how great he is? And everyone's like, oh, geez, man, I can't take this guy. I'm leaving.
This guy.
Yeah. Because what is everybody's favorite topic? Themselves. So, so when you go to a show and someone's like, hey, I mean, you were there with the blue 67 GTO we did.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
At the McCacken show. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Well, and
talk about insane.
Well, the team did an amazing job in that car, and you see it firsthand. People come and they go, wow, this thing's awesome. Hey, I've got a 74 Nova. It immediately goes to what they have.
Sure. Well, yeah.
So and I think what they're doing is they're looking at the capabilities of what your shop can do because it's right in front of them, and then they're going, damn, if my car could look like that.
Yeah.
And that's where
they're seeing what can be done. Yeah.
And that's where it is the job of the shop owner or representative or whatever to say, well, what do you have? What do you want? You can see what we can do.
What are your plans?
Let's do something for you, man. Let's make your.
You got that tax return handy?
Yeah. For sure. So, again, like SEMA or trade shows, the worst thing is when you walk down an aisle and there's somebody sitting in their booth looking at their phone and not communicating.
Right. That is a turnoff.
Yeah. So somebody spent, $5,000 for that person to be there for the week at least.
Right.
And that person isn't engaged. They're not, you don't have to be a huckster, standing there.
Right. But you need to make eye contact. You need to engage people as they come by. You need to greet them. You need to get them, again, not to be a huckster, but get them interested.
Yeah, for sure. And so that they at least know what you got. You got to stand out because there's so many displays and so much stimulus in all directions, and that's where some of these show cars come in handy, because it might look outrageous on the street, but it needs that level of impact to get people to come to the booth,
Yes.
and see it. I remember
Agreed.
a long time ago, I worked for a chemical company, and I was in the marketing department naming products and writing labels and stuff. There's a couple of good stories there that we're not going to get into, but the head sales guy, like the vice president of sales, is an older gentleman. He was like minutes from retirement when I started there, and he'd been there forever. And he's old school person-to-person sales. That's what his deal is. He's got the briefcase, and he's going door to door. That's his deal. And he had a trick that I thought was kind of fun. This company had branded little tchotchkes they would give out. So they had like a little pocket screwdriver, the size of a pen, and they had a lighter with their logo on it, So to break the ice, this guy would go to the purchasing manager of a business who is potentially going to buy these chemicals. They'd walk in their office and introduce themselves, and he would pull out their lighter and say, "Hey, do you smoke?" And the person would go, "Well, and then he'd pull a screwdriver out. "Do you screw?" And he'd give him the screwdriver, And
Nice.
Right. I still remember that today, and it was almost 30 years ago. So
That's awesome.
that kind of stuff makes a difference, as opposed to looking down at your phone and letting people walk past you.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Yeah, man.
Have you had any late summer GTO action?
A little bit. I drove here and there. Yesterday, though, yesterday was clean the garage out day, so Jenny could park back in her spot. And part of that was just getting the car out, getting all the cars off the driveway onto the street, and just be able to move stuff around and get things going here. Well, I went in and I started the GTO, and the starter wasn't turning over the engine with the same level of enthusiasm it normally does. And I hadn't started it in a couple of weeks. I figured, maybe the battery just got a little bit low. No big deal. So I put it out onto the street. Do what I got to do. I get the garage cleaned out. Everything's all happy, joy. I go in to start the car again, and it starts up, and it just doesn't start how I expect it to start. It almost sounded like it that had that famous Pontiac slow start. Like timing is too advanced. Yeah, the hot start. So
you need a gear reduction Mopar starter, my friend.
You know what? I'm on my way to get one. So I started it up. I'm like, maybe I just need to drive it a little bit. So I took it for a spin around the neighborhood. I went to a car wash and vacuumed it out and all that good stuff. And I got back home, and I parked it in the garage, and I shut it off. And I said, well, I put some miles on it. Let me just see how it starts back up. And I turned the key, and all I heard was, it sounded like the starter solenoid trying to pop out, but no starter motor was turning. And that happened twice.
Like a click clunk?
Kind of like a clunk.
Yeah.
Not like the electrical click of a dying battery, but more of a mechanical engagement.
Push the solenoid out and clunk.
But nothing spun. So I'm like, okay. I let it sit for a second. I tried it again, and the starter motor engaged, and I released the key, and the engine was running, but the starter motor was still turning.
Still engaged.
It was still engaged, and I shut the car off, and the ignition quit, but the starter motor was still turning. Like it was still trying to start the car.
So the solenoid disengaged, so the starter motor was just turning, not grinding into the flywheel.
It was turning the engine over.
Oh.
And I'm like, what is going on? And I turned the key all the way to the accessory position and turned it back off, and it was still turning. And it did that for about 5 seconds, and then it finally quit.
That is really unusual.
It is a little unusual.
Wow.
And that happened yesterday.
Wow.
So, yeah. Because I was going to drive it. I knew it was going to be a nice day today. So I thought, well, I'll drive it to work today. It's going to be nice. I wiped it all down. I cleaned the glass. I vacuumed it out. It was looking good. But now I'm like, I'm not doing that this time. So I got to get it up in the air, get underneath, and see what's going on.
Well, so when that solenoid engages, it's an electromagnet, and it
correct.
pulls the plunger over, which makes the big contact across the bus bar, which turns on the motor. And if that plunger is hanging up, it won't release, it won't let go. And as long as that plunger is in that magnetized position, it's going to spin the motor.
Turn.
Yeah. So I think it's a solenoid.
I think you're right. Well, I might just need to either replace the solenoid or the whole starter, because I had that starter apart a few months ago, shortly, not long before the driving cruise.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there's where the small terminal, I think it's the purple wire goes onto it, that internal contact was broken, and I resoldered it.
Yeah. So you could grease it. I mean, if you can get the solenoid apart, you could lubricate it. And see if that does it, or you could just replace the whole thing. I think they sell those from China. You could probably find one. And I just put you right the same boat I'm in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that starter is a mini starter I got. I bought it off of eBay a million years ago. It was a Jeg starter. Mm-hmm. That's where it came from. But up until recently, it's been great. So
that's cool.
But that makes sense. If that solenoid is hung up, it's still energizing the starter.
Right. That's the only way the starter works, is if that thing pushes forward and it contacts across that bus bar. Yeah.
So it's mechanically stuck.
Yep.
So therefore, it was electrically turning. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's a good time to put a remote starter on there, or a remote solenoid on there. Put a Ford solenoid on it.
It used to have one, but I removed it.
Yeah.
In my quest for complete factory appearing engine, I removed it.
Well, it's factory Ford,
Yeah. Well,
factory down the street.
Not on my watch, pal.
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be little projects.
Yeah. And that's fine, and that's great. I mean, we're winding down anyway, so I don't have any big plans until the next thaw. So
yes, yeah, here it comes.
For sure.
Well, the good thing is after SEMA, Kelly and I are taking a few days and going to somewhere in Colorado. We rented a place.
Nice.
I said my requirements are that it has a fireplace, it has a hot tub outside, and that's all I care about.
Right on.
So we're going to go out there, and SEMA, again, the whole week it's wonderful for me because I kind of help kick off the whole thing with the Monday night SEMA reveal, and then Tuesday through Friday is SEMA Central. Got some great interviews lined up there, and then Friday afternoon is the SEMA cruise, where all the cars leave and go off to Ignited. You're
flying solo on the SEMA cruise this year, right?
Well, yes and no. So Joe Subergandio is the originator of the SEMA cruise, and I've been doing it with him the past couple of years. And he mentioned to me that he might have to skip out for a little bit because of another SEMA commitment in some of the other capacities that he has. So he's like, so you're on your own.
Sucker.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of, how I would approach that. Especially, Joe is great. He's a great friend. He and I make a pretty good yin-yang.
Oh, he's all day.
Yeah, he's the New Yorker with the attitude, and I'm more of the tech car guy. But so if I play my cards right, and if it's true that he does need to skip out, of course I will miss him for that time period. But I might just hand his mic to Kelly.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Because she's going to be there all week. She's actually my boss this week.
Right. Well, and every other week.
For sure. Yeah. there's no difference. Except now, she's getting paid to be my boss.
Oh, nice.
But she's the stage manager, essentially, for SEMA Central. So she's running the operations of that program, which will be great. But we're both going to be pretty smoked by the end of the week. So we agreed that taking a couple days in the wilderness is going to be nice.
Oh, yes, absolutely. God, I love Colorado, man.
And I think she already lined up
a place.
I think she already lined up a little fly fishing thing. And I said, I will be in the hot tub, arm's length from some kind of bottle.
Nice.
But
a bottle of Coca-Cola.
A bottle of Happy, whatever it is. Water would probably be the best thing at that point.
Yeah, right.
So after that is, of course, the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals.
Yeah, man. I'll be there.
We'll be there, and I appreciate your gracious offer to help out with that show again.
Absolutely.
And as we're talking about this, I'm now remembering all the notes that I wrote. Did you happen to see those?
I have it open, but I haven't looked. I mean, there's a lot.
I don't know.
Written down.
I don't know what was wrong with me, but I tried to take the time to visualize that whole show based on my 12 years of doing it or whatever it was. I don't even know how many years. I missed one. So
I'm scrolling through it and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Yeah, but it's designed so we're going to be doing video coverage again, and we're also going to I'm going to be pulling some covers, and we're going to try and do a podcast there at the same time. And I don't want to run us into the ground, but I do want to strategically capture some stuff and have it look a certain way that is going to be easier for us to grab. So I'm looking forward to that. Cool. And then, after that's the PRI show in December, and we have to talk about your availability for that one.
Okay.
Because
we can talk about that.
That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday show.
Okay.
And you've made it before, like on Friday and and or Saturday. We would be returning to Civilization Saturday night after the show.
That's fine.
But I'm communicating with them, with the PRI friends, to do some, a lot of recording there, podcast-wise.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
So the situation is that I'm not working for anybody there at the event.
Okay.
So in my mind, if I can get permission from our friends at maybe ARP or something to have a little corner that we can have a little table and we can bring some guests in that are right there, and we could record some of these. We could record some Bonneville ones. We could do a bunch of cool stuff all in one shot. So.
Yeah, kind of like how we stole a table at, was it the WeatherTech table, I think, wasn't it, at McCacken last year? Or
no, it was Meekum, wasn't it?
Meekum.
Yeah.
The Meekum table.
We stole a Meekum auction table and set up shop and just...
Yo, guys, we really need the space. All right, we're done. We're done.
I think that's in that episode where the guy comes up, he's like, "Are you done yet?" Which was quite a contrast from the SEMA episode last year when Foose came through. Remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right. My man Chipper.
That's it. So lots of adventures to still come through. The year ain't over, that's for sure. So.
Well, that is for sure. Lots of fun to be had.
Yes, always. So, speaking of fun to be had...
Oh, yeah.
Time to release the answers to these trivia questions into the wild.
All right. Let's do this. All right. So, Kevin, I asked you, what is a Monroney label?
Oh, right.
You said to label you a fix. And the original certification that's placed on a race engine to signify that it's built to spec, that has not been modified.
It's like you came up with it yourself.
Right. That is incorrect, unfortunately.
Of course.
A Monroney label is the new car window sticker showing pricing,
for
options,
crying
and other details
out
mandated
loud.
by a bill sponsored by Oklahoma Senator Almer Mike Stillwell Monroney in 1958.
Man, oh man.
It's your window sticker, sir. The window sticker is the Monroney label.
Nice. That's a great question.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Gee, here's, again, Captain Useless. Boy, there's no stickers associated with cars.
Oh,
How
man.
about the window sticker, dummy?
When you said that, I'm like, this dirty SOB is going to pull it out.
No. If I was a little bit smarter, I could have. I was close. Close to the process there, but not effective.
Yeah, man. You were dancing around it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I asked you back in the late 60s, early 70s, the fine folks in the Mercury division of the Ford Motor Company were advertising their car, the Cougar, and they did it by having a live, real Cougar in the commercials, and again perched on top of the sign at the end of the commercial. And Mercury was known as the sign of the cat. They were,
Yeah.
and then they even expanded that to like the marquee and like the the four doors and everything. They're all
Right.
the cat. So I asked you, what was the name of the cat? I didn't even ask you that. You asked me that, which turned out to be the right question.
Right.
And your answer was GD, which was that part was incorrect.
I apologize for the listeners. We're going to lose over this.
Yeah, well, it's all your fault. And then you said, well, it's a peach of a question, and then you guessed Felix, because Felix the cat is a cat.
That is what I guessed.
Yeah. Well, the correct answer is actually Chauncey.
Chauncey
Chauncey the Cougar. And I believe they used the same Chauncey for a big part of that program.
Is that right?
Yeah, there wasn't like 9 Chaunceys lined up in the cage outside.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Oh, man. Well, that's interesting. That's a pretty good question.
So we're 0 for 0.
We're double ought.
Yeah, but it reminded
Double ought Captain Uselesses.
The Chauncey thing popped into my head because this coming week we'll be releasing a new episode of Muscle Car of the Week with a unseen car.
A new episode.
Brand new episode. All new stuff. Yes.
Are you allowed to say where this footage is coming from?
It's from the archives, put it that way.
Oh, okay. Cool,
it's
man.
It's we've had a couple of cars that we didn't use for a reason or another, and
didn't know you had archives.
Oh, we got archives, buddy. We got stuff in the closet we don't even know what it is. So this one located some footage and was able to put this one together, so it's going to be pretty fun. And Chauncey makes an appearance.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll be looking out for it.
Heck yeah.
Cool, man. Good stuff.
For sure.
Glad we're able to get back on this, despite your extremely busy schedule this time of year.
Yeah, me too. I apologize for the delay. I mean, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute. It's been 2 minutes.
Yeah. 2 minutes and 2 seconds, right? Who was that?
2 and 2. Mr. Chuck Woolery.
That's right. All right, my man. Well, this was fun.
This is great.
We'll have to do an update promptly after my return from SEMA and Colorado.
Absolutely. The people demand it.
Well, and if I don't regurgitate it quickly, I'm not going to remember what happened. So,
right on.
But I'm really excited about a couple of things that are going to make for some great stories, hopefully. So,
good. Well, I'm curious to hear about Kelly's success as being stage manager.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's a foregone. That's already happened.
Kelly, don't fail, man. Kelly, don't fail.
That's true. That's true.
No, man.
So, very cool. Well, that's all I got, man. Looking forward to hearing your starter solenoid escapades. Although that might not.
Hopefully, I have it all straightened out by the time we record again.
there's the goal. Tune in next time when you'll hear Mike say,
"This dang starter sucks. This cheap Chinese crap."
That's right. Well, hopefully I get the van dialed in by then too. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
if
we
you
need
have
more
any
van stories.
Have any van license plate suggestions? Throw them our way in the comments.
Captain Useless and Van Ostier taken.
Yeah. Did I show you? I have like 90 screenshots of different van, but a lot of them are they're license plate ideas that were tied to my dad. Which, if you knew him and you knew the van, it would make sense.
Oh, I got you.
Right, and that's what I was trying to say before. Because if you just read the plate, it's like, what does that mean? You know, it's like,
the stupid.
Right, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you knew him, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. You know.
Yeah. Well, your friends would get it, but your old childhood chums.
Yeah, maybe I could. If there's only some way to share a picture out there in the world of.
We're going to have to develop some technology.
So other people could see it too.
Yeah, how about that?
All right, my friend. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I got.
If you dig the show, drop us a review, right? We recently got a really nice review.
We did get a nice review.
On the iTunes to the tune of sharing what a great experience this person had listening. And next time we'll read that one on the air. But if you want to challenge that with further compliments, feel free to spit them out on
I
the
dare
Apple
you.
Podcasts or wherever you see fit, and subscribe. And that's about all I got, man. So for Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clark, I'm Kevin Ostie, reminding you.
To what?
This is like as hard as coming up with a van license plate.
Reminding you to get a personalized license plate.
That's right. And a starter not from China. And we'll see you next time on VA Radio.